woke up this morning with the sunrise in my eyes. My ride sweeter beneath the one I love. I don't know how, don't know why, I've been toasting all my life. Oh, it's sweeter. I've been toasting all my life.
Welcome to Phillip Island, Victoria in Australia. What a setting we have for this great sporting contest, the Little Penguin Sea to Dune race. Nervous moments always as they gather on the beach, the tension mounting, and away they go. There's the defending champion, wearing his familiar navy blue and white, great waddling style. Another pre-race favourite though, losing touch with the pack. Maybe that's why. A few too many fish in the day's feeding. There's a familiar face, Skip McIntyre, 8 times a champion back in the 90s, a very successful coach now, keeping a keen eye on proceedings. This the leading group, 1 or 2 still able to put on a show for the camera, others just ploughing straight over it. Some resorting to shortcuts. Sad that cheating has crept into this beautiful sport. The judges will have a look at that. But up at the front, the pace is relentless, closing in on those sand dunes that will offer a bed for the night. The fatigue starting to tell. Who's got the finishing kick up on the outside? What a turn of pace from that one, whichever one it is. No answer from the rest, and he takes victory. What a win. There we are, into the Burrow, building an extension with his winnings, and back tomorrow to try and defend his title here on Phillip Island.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Live Penguin TV. My name's Sky. I'm going to be your host for tonight, and we've also got Sue.
Hello, everyone. It's great to be back and great to be accompanying Sky tonight. I just wanted to let you know, of course, we'll be endeavouring to answer some of your questions this evening. And don't worry if we don't quite get to them tonight, because we've got some other wonderful rangers that will be also, having a go at answering some of your questions as well. Enjoy the lovely evening. It looks like there's a beautiful sunset tonight.
Yeah, it's looking nice out there. We'll have a look. I tilted the camera up a little bit for you there so that you could see the beautiful sunset that's just going down right now. So the penguins will be certainly thinking about heading on their way in. Now, last night we had 1,212 penguins. So that is 1, 2, 1, 2. It sounds like a microphone check. 1, 2, 1, 2. That's how many penguins we had last night. It felt like a lot. So last night I was actually on the Penguins Plus stand, and it felt like a lot of penguins. It felt like a really exciting time out in the colony. I saw a lot of shell gritters and I saw a lot of mating behaviour. So it's business time here in Penguin Land, here on Phillip Island, Malau. And so the country that we're on here is Bunurong country. The traditional custodians are the Bunurong people of the Kulin Nation, and I'd like to pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. And yes, Malau is the home to 32,000 little penguins who are certainly thinking about breeding again at this time of year. So let's have a little look out. It is a very low tide tonight, so we might be waiting a little while for penguins tonight, but it is a bit cloudy, so that might help them think about coming a little bit earlier than otherwise. And it's really looking quite smooth out there, so we might try our luck at looking for some rafts tonight. We'll keep our eyes out and I'll zoom in if I think I see any. But I did get some breaking news, everybody. Hold the press. My goodness, I got a text from Jordan and Megan just before we hit the start streaming button, and they told me that today when they were out looking at their study site, they found 10 new nests with eggs, or at least with an egg rather than eggs. So breeding is happening again. We have had a start to the breeding season a couple of months ago. It was earlier than we expected. We saw lots of partners having eggs, rearing their chicks, and then we've seen lots of chicks fledge as well. And now we're starting to see a bit of a second round. They said that the majority of the parents that they saw today were on their second clutch of eggs, and some of them had just one egg, which means that that egg was probably laid within the last 24 hours or so. Our penguins lay one egg, and then 24 to 48 hours later, they lay that second egg. And so they found a lot of nests with just one egg, meaning that these penguins were sort of right in between of that laying of the two in the clutch. And the fact that quite a few of them were doing it at the same time means that there's a lot of synchronicity going on, and that's a really good sign. That means that the penguins are all getting the same signals from the environment that now's the time to breed. And so this does suggest that we're getting second clutches, which is fantastic, and that, you can probably put it in your calendars 5 weeks from now, because they tend to look after their eggs for about 35 days, 5 weeks. We should be getting some little hatchlings, some young penguins hatching. So I reckon, I would imagine that might be just before Christmas we would be starting to see some little chicks, at least in the burrows, if not, probably not outside the burrows, probably not on our stream. So very exciting, second clutches. This shows that it's perhaps a pretty good breeding season, and occasionally they have time to go for a third. Will that happen this year? We don't know, but yeah, second clutches are looking pretty good. And yeah, as I said, we've been seeing stacks and stacks of shell gritters. At least when I was here on Saturday, I couldn't tell you how many shell gritters I saw. But those are females who are heading the opposite way to our main penguin parade, who's all coming the opposite way, and they are heading down to the beach to nibble on shell grit. And so it's pretty, when you're seeing a lot of that means that there's a lot of female penguins within a couple of days of laying their eggs. So yeah, we're seeing a lot of that laying behaviour right now. So that's really, really exciting. Lots of good breeding happening here this year on Phillip Island. Fantastic news. And so yeah, we are Phillip Island Nature Parks. We are a not-for-profit conservation organisation, and we look after wildlife here on Phillip Island. And we look after bushfire koalas that got caught up in the bushfires, and we're hoping to release them. We have released some already, actually, which is really exciting. We look after the south side beaches. We, of course, look after this fantastic fantastic penguin parade and our colony of 32,000 little penguins. We look after Churchill Island Heritage Farm, and Oswin Roberts, there's a little sort of reserve in the middle of the island, and all sorts of different natural areas across the island. We do a really great job. If you'd like to support our conservation, our education and our research, you can head to the link, the Penguin Foundation. It should be in the link in the description above, below, wherever it is for you, and you can donate to our cause. You can become a penguin pal, where you get a little plushie. You can adopt a penguin, or you can just donate, and every donation does help us in our endeavour to look after this fantastic island that has all sorts of lovely wild animals, not just the penguins. So I'm not seeing much rafting going on at the moment. I'm not seeing many penguins. As we look out to Pyramid Rock, so just in the middle of the screen there is Pyramid Rock. I wonder why it's called Pyramid Rock. That's because it's the shape of a pyramid. And behind it you can see Cape Woolamai, which is a lovely place to walk. When you all come and visit us, hopefully sooner than later, that is a really lovely place to walk. And around Cape Woolamai, and even here at the Penguin Parade as well, we have a lot of short-tailed shearwaters, but not at the moment. So you might have seen on Facebook that our short-tailed shearwaters have gone on their honeymoon. So the short-tailed shearwaters are a fantastic story here on Phillip Island. They are a bird that spends the northern summer up in the waters around Alaska. And then around this time of year, around our spring, they fly all the way from Alaska and the waters around Alaska down to Phillip Island. And Phillip Island is where they nest. That's where they have build their burrows and look after their chicks. And so what's happened is they've already arrived back from Alaska about a month ago. Does that sound about right? Yeah, probably. And they've built their burrows and they've done their mating. And now they're on their honeymoon. They now take off all the way down to Antarctica. So pretty much from the Arctic Circle all the way down to Antarctica, they're going to feed on some krill right around the Antarctic shelf. And then within about 2 weeks, they'll be coming back to lay their eggs and start the incubation period, start looking after their eggs. And they're going to head back off. Oh, what do we got down there? They're going to start heading off again at around autumn time. Ooh, is that an ibis? Have we seen an ibis before? I don't know if I've seen an ibis down on the beach. It is, isn't it?
Looks like it.
Yeah. So you might be more familiar with this bird as, what do they call them, a bin chicken. This is a bin chicken in their natural habitat. So I think for those of you who don't live in Australia, this is one of our birds that tends to hang around in urban areas, and they really like getting into our bins. And so a lot of Australians don't really like ibises very much because they think they're a bit dirty, because they like to eat rubbish and things like that. But of course, human rubbish is not their natural food. And so here you can see we have quite a few ibises on the island. I see them in the fields of the farmers. I see them up on Cape Woolamai. I don't know that I've seen one pecking around the water before though. So that's kind of cool. Very interesting. These are not a threat to the little penguins. They certainly don't want to eat a penguin, and a penguin doesn't want to eat them, so there shouldn't be too much interaction. However, they may not be so used to seeing an ibis, I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, there we go. Look at them huddled up on that rock. When did you sneak in? We've got a few little penguins. Did you get lost? Oh, there's a few in the background there as well. So why are they hiding in that little rock there, I wonder? They've sort of got in and then realised, oh, maybe I don't want to go in just yet. I'm just going to shelter in these rocks. Oh, cute little things. So I'll zoom out just a little bit so I can keep my eye on if any more are coming. Maybe they saw the ibis and they went, what is that? I'm nervous about that. Maybe they can't tell the difference between it and a Pacific gull or something else like that. I'm not sure. We'll keep our eye on them and see what they do as they huddle up in those rocks there. Very sweet. So these are the little penguin. That is their name. They are the smallest penguin in the world of the 18 species that we have all around the world. Now, I haven't actually talked much about the other types of penguins that exist. So there's 18 species. Yes, we've got the littlest, but the biggest you can find all the way down in Antarctica, and they are the emperor penguin. Now, I think a lot of people, when they think of penguins, they think of Antarctica, they think of snow, and people sometimes are quite surprised to hear that we've got penguins here in Australia, because Australia is quite well renowned for being quite a hot place, really. And so it's quite a surprise. But I guess because we're hot, our penguins are quite little because they can deal with the hot weather by being a small animal. You often see bigger animals in colder places and smaller animals in hotter places because it helps them with their heat exchange. So we've got the big emperor penguins all the way down in Antarctica. But yet between our little penguin and the biggest emperor penguins, there's 16 other types of penguins that you can find. And they are all in the southern hemisphere. So I've seen on the internet sometimes there's been a picture of a penguin and a polar bear together, and that is a fake photo. If you ever see that, it's not true. You will not see a penguin and a polar bear in the same place because the polar bears, they come from the Arctic. They come from the northern hemisphere. Penguins, they are only found in the southern hemisphere, sort of. So they are found in the southern hemisphere, but the most northerly penguin that you will ever see is in the Galapagos, and they live on an island called Isabella. I've been there, I've seen them. They're very sweet, they're very cute, and this island does just poke over the equator. It just is right bang on the equator in the Galapagos. So technically you could say that some of those Galapagos penguins would live in the northern hemisphere, but that is very finicky. Really, most penguins that you'll ever see come from the southern hemisphere. All the rest live in the southern hemisphere. It's just those Galapagos penguins that just cross into the northern hemisphere. And they're found all across the southern hemisphere. So we've got them here in Australia. You can also find some in Africa. You can also find some all down through South America. There's quite a few species around South America, like the Galapagos penguin, as we discussed. They've got the Humboldt penguin as well. The Magellanic penguin can be found near there as well. And then from these southern sort of continents down, we've got all sorts of different penguins as well. There's a lot that are found around New Zealand, like the Snares penguin and the yellow-eyed penguin and the Fiordland penguin, which one of them did wash up on Australian shores once. It was a very lost penguin. And then, of course, you go right down through the Antarctic penguins, your Gentoos, your Adelis, and all sorts of things like that. And I was trying to remember them all just before we went live to air. I remembered them all bar two. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of penguins that have different names, but when you look at pictures of them, they all have that little sort of yellow feathers on the top of their head. There's the macaroni penguin, the erect-crested penguin, the royal penguin, and I challenge you, get 3 of those penguins, 3 different pictures of those penguins, and try and tell the difference. They look really similar. We've got a fantastic display here at the Penguin Parade where you can have a look at all 18 species of penguins and compare the differences. And sometimes it's a difference of maybe a little bit of a white feather on its cheeks is one of the most obvious way you can tell the difference between this one and that one. So, lots of fun with our penguins, our global penguins. Let's see, these guys still hovering. These are the smallest and the cutest though. Are they still there? No, have they disappeared away perhaps? No, not there anymore. All right, let's have a look and see if we've got any rafts showing up. And while we have a look for rafts, Sue, do we have any questions?
Yeah, well, Jamila would like to know what is the biggest species of penguins.
Oh, Jamila, top fan Jamila. Hello, how are you? Thanks for watching every night and tonight especially, and thanks for asking such a great question. Yeah, the biggest species is the emperor penguin. So they were the stars of the March of the Penguins. It was a famous movie quite some time ago. It feels recent to me, but I'm getting old. Also Happy Feet, they were emperor penguins. So they're really quite tall. They're they're not this high. I'm not quite that small. What do you reckon? A meter and a bit?
That sounds about right.
Google it. Somebody fact check me. It's pretty big. Certainly big compared to our 33. Oh, is that some there? 33 centimeters tall.
112 centimeters rings a bell.
112 centimeters. All right, let us know if we got that right, everybody, and be kind if we didn't. we don't study them. Well, I personally don't too much, because why would you when you've got the little penguins right in front of you? Off the top of my head, I don't really remember exactly how big, but it is the emperor penguins found all the way in Antarctica. And if you ever have the chance to watch a really fantastic documentary, it was a David Attenborough one, and it shows how the penguins go over winter. The male penguins all stand in a huddle in Antarctica and survive through the winter. It's really fantastic. But yeah, penguins are just fantastic. You know, these are birds that would have originally, at some point in their history, been flyers, have now adapted to being swimmers and surviving in some of the most inhospitable places in the world. They are just fantastic. Okay, so we've got a few rafts arriving. I've got some in the back there. Oh, let me just go across so you can see them properly. We've got some in the front, some in the back there. They're realising it's about time. I thought they might have crossed a little bit earlier than this tonight, because it is a bit cloudier than last night. Oh, Pacific gull, look at that. So just in the top there is a Pacific gull. I think that group a little bit further back might not be thinking of coming in just yet if they can see that Pacific gull, because of course these little penguins wait until the cover of darkness so that their predators, like Pacific gulls, like that bird that you can just see in that sort of top, it's backwards, just that sort of top corner near our nature parks logo. Yeah, that's an animal that might like to eat a little penguin, so they might be a little bit wary of that bird just patrolling the sand there. A few of them have washed up on the shore, a bit further away from that bird. Let me just zoom right out. Let's see if we've got any in front of us though. Let's see if because the camera works best nice and close. No, they're not even thinking about it in our front corner. Oh, yes they are. Yes they are. They've just gone a bit further to the side than I'm used to. Hello, little ones. So the littlest penguin in the world, right here in Australia, can be found right across the south of Australia, up to about Sydney, northwise, and then they can even be found in New Zealand as well. So New Zealand's got quite a few species of penguins. Mainland Australia, just the little penguins. And here we get to see them in a really special way. Here they do this parading phenomenon, which doesn't actually happen everywhere else. Here they really do gather together and come up in their groups. But we have some in St Kilda Pier as well, and those ones don't parade. They just slip up onto the rocks when they're ready. So if you want to... they weren't happy about that bird coming past. Yep, that has made them spooked. I don't think it was a bird that was going to eat them necessarily. I'm not sure what it was. Like maybe just a crow perhaps, but it certainly spooked them a little bit. They weren't waiting around to find out if it was a dangerous bird or not. Anyone crept in on this corner yet? No. So we'll keep watching these little guys here. Any more questions, Sue?
Sky, Caitlin would like to know, why do penguins stop when they reach the other side of the beach?
It was Caitlin, was it? Mm-hmm. Caitlin, oh my goodness, if I had $1 for every time somebody wanted to know that, and every time I had to say, I don't know. And you know what? I don't think they know either. Sometimes they get to the rocks and it seems like they've got to safety and then they start to preen. So maybe they just had an itch that needed to be scratched. Maybe they just needed to get those feathers in order. Maybe that's just what they needed to do right in that moment. But yeah, then sometimes they get kicked along and they go, oh, okay, I'll walk a little bit. And then they sort of get to another, just nothing point. They get to a point where there's nothing of note. There's nothing special about the point that they stop at. And it's just like they forgot what they were doing and they go, and then maybe they start preening a little bit with their beak. Maybe they just stand and have a look around for a bit. And then it takes somebody else to come up behind them to kick them along. And yet people ask me every single night when I'm out on the boardwalks and they just say, why are they stopping there? And you go, I don't know. I don't know that they know either. I think they just sometimes they just stop, and I sort of think, like, I can get a bit distracted sometimes, sort of daydream a bit, look out. I wonder if they're having a bit of a daydream, and then they go, oh yeah, I was meant to be getting home to my darling daughter or son. I'm meant to be getting home and feeding the chicks. I'm meant to be getting home and taking a turn to sit on the eggs and give my partner a break. But no, I don't know. Do you actually know? Do you know why they stop?
Well, I think they'd be quite exhausted because they've been out swimming, perhaps for a couple of days or more, and their bellies could be full of fish. So once they get to the other side of the beach and they don't feel as scared anymore, they're quite happy to just stop and take a little break for a little while. And also preen their feathers, which you might have already said, Sky.
Yeah. So preening, having a rest. Yeah. Every now and then we do see them sleeping as well. Like I saw a penguin on Saturday, I think it must have been, just in this highway camera above me, and it just got to just a midway point in that little highway, and just obviously went, right, I'm having a sleep, and it just lay down on its belly, and just it looked like it had a snooze for 4 minutes or so, and then went on its way. But it was just really funny. It's like, why the middle of that highway? What are you thinking, penguin? I don't know. I don't know why that was the spot, but that's where it wanted to be. Oh, okay, so we've had a few penguins arrive on this one in front of us, and they're creeping their way across. Here we go. They've snuck in, and this is a fair-sized group. So considering it's a bit of an egg-laying time, yeah, we might be seeing some good numbers tonight. And now that they, if the trend of the nest site that Jordan and Megan were looking at today, if that sort of spreads across the whole colony, and we're seeing lots of nesting at the moment, or lots of laying of eggs, then we're going to be seeing perhaps penguins needing to come back every 3 to 5 days, at least, more or less, to take their turn on the eggs. So we might be, it's just me having a guess, but we might be about to start seeing some higher, even higher numbers again, as they've got to come and take their turn on the eggs. Yeah, every 3 to 5 days. And then once they have the chicks, of course, once the chicks hatch, then if they're really diligent parents, we might be seeing penguins returning every day to make sure that their chicks are getting some fresh fish. So we might be starting to see another boom of numbers again soon. Of course, this is me just speculating. Now that I've said it, they probably won't. They always have a habit of proving you wrong.
And our penguin count has just started at 8:39 tonight.
8:39. Oh, is that
a bit later than last night?
Yeah, later than last night, which is a surprise.
The penguins slept in.
They slept in. They're coming back a little later. Look at this penguin running the opposite way. Is this a shell grit, or is this one that just got a bit ahead of itself and then is running back to the group? What do we think? Let's see where it's going. What are you doing? Why are you by yourself? Why are you running the opposite way? Or someone joining in? They're wanting to join. What is happening? What is... Well, that doesn't look like a shell gritter because it's heading to the rocks. I would think a shell gritter would be heading to the sand where the shells are. Oh, we've got one early penguin. It's just above us here. So I don't know where that penguin's gone in the rocks, but the others are mostly ignoring that other one now and are continuing on their way. The count has started, so that means at least somewhere across the beach 5 penguins have made it halfway across the beach. It could be these ones. Who's counting tonight again? Sorry, Sue?
Tonight is Rach.
Rach. Oh, so it was Rach last night as well. So she's a sucker for punishment. She's doing it 2 in a row. Poor thing. And she told me last night it's really hard with the rocks. Really hard to get a count because I think you've mostly got to try and get a count while they're on. Well, this would be my theory. Would be to while. Oh, is that another one just dashing off across the? What are they doing? What are these penguins doing? Where are they going over there? What's over there? Oh, I've got no idea. So I've just seen a whole lot of penguins sort of running up into the rocks, sort of between where I am and the screen above.
They could be chicks running down for food off.
Maybe.
Penguins coming in.
I don't feel like I've seen that very much, and not all the way down to the rocks yet. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. What do you think? Your guess is as good as mine, everybody, so chuck it in the comments. What are they doing? Where are they running? Let us know what you think, because I've got no idea. I don't feel like I've seen anything like that. Running to that weird patch of rocks. Why? on their way. They're on their way home. Business season. It's the breeding season. It's fun times. And we've seen a fair bit of breeding as well. In fact, I saw 2 pairs of mating penguins on the Saturday. I really enjoyed the comment by Jean. She said, other penguin rangers or other rangers, special penguin cuddles, Sky, ooh, mating, zooms in. Sorry everyone, I do like a good mating penguin. I find it's all natural, isn't it? It's all natural. So I hope you don't mind seeing some mating penguins. If we see them, I'll certainly have a little bit of a look at them. It's interesting, and it's that time of year. So they're making their way across the rocks. And do we have any questions?
We do. Sean, who's 11 years old, do they only come in at this beach on Phillip Island?
Oh, great questions, Sean. Thanks for asking. No, not just this beach. So we used to have 10 colonies of penguins here on Phillip Island, and they used to be all around the coast. And unfortunately, we humans, we ruined that. And now there's only this one colony here on the Summerland Peninsula. And so this is Summerland Beach, and we get quite a few coming up on this beach, but all along the Summerland Peninsula, there are penguins coming up. So there's penguins that come up at the Knobbies. The Knobbies is a great place that you can go for a walk, and you can see some penguins sometimes there. We have them on the other side as well, but it's all in protected areas. So the penguins are mostly just coming up in this protected area. We don't let anybody in at night except to the penguin parade, and that is because if we had cars driving down these areas, well, the penguins just go on the roads. They don't know the difference between road and not road, and they'd get run over. So there used to be a housing estate where all these penguins live, and luckily we managed to get rid of that housing estate, give that area back to the penguins, and yeah, there's lots of beaches along this whole peninsula where the penguins do come up. But I would say most of the penguins, or not most of the penguins, but probably the most visually stunning area where you see lots and lots of penguins coming in at the same time is right here on this beach, and that's why we have the penguin parade right here. In a lot of the places it's very rocky and they sort of sneak up these little different pathways, but this is the big beach where you just see these groups of hundreds and hundreds at a time. So it's pretty special. And here they're making it over the rocks. They're getting to our preening rocks, and yep, just like the question was asked, we might see a few of them stop on these rocks once they start feeling safe. You can see these preening rocks. You can see where they like to stand because it's covered in poo. Can you see all that white mess? Yep, that's because a lot of penguins do their high velocity poo right here in these preening rocks in this area. So we're seeing some are pausing. Oh, some are running. Where are you running back to? There's nowhere to run to. You may as well run forward at this point, penguins. So some of them might be having a rest, doing some preening, but usually in the first group, quite a few of them head onwards. Seems like the ones that really had the courage to come in early and take that first leap of faith across the beach are the ones that have somewhere to be and are pretty busy and want to get on their way. And yet we're seeing quite a fair few of these continuing on their journey. So some of them are heading just directly below the platform there, and others are heading across.
And Rach just said she counted 94 penguins in that second raft.
94 penguins. How did you go, everybody? Oh, is that one, or is there another one coming up, Sue, do you think?
She just said in the second raft.
Second raft. Let's have a little look back and see if there's a second raft coming. Oh, yes, there is. Okay, so 94, did you say, Sue?
Yes, yep, 94.
Yep, so this is 94. Good to know. I guess she probably would have counted them while they were on the sand, which is a good way to do it. That's what I'd be doing if I were the counter. But I've never had to sit in that seat. I've never had to face that responsibility before. On East, yes, certainly, but never the official penguin counter. And thank goodness science is pleased, because I'd be terrible. All right, so here's more of those stopping penguins. Why have they stopped? I don't know. I just really don't know. Look at them. Some of them are preening, are they? Some of them are shaking their heads. So they're shaking their heads and they're trying to dislodge salt. So these penguins, they will drink the salt water and then they get rid of the salt through their nostrils. They sort of sneeze it out. So you see them shaking their heads, and that's them shaking the salt out of their nose. Yep, some are preening now, but like, why there? I don't know. I don't think they know either. And then some of them are going, oh yeah, maybe we'll go. One's sitting outside a burrow. I wonder if this is home. I wonder if this is a partner. Oh, let's quickly switch cameras. Oh, hello everybody, welcome home. Here they come past this. Oh, look at this one really gunning it through the middle there. And we might just have a look at them going the opposite way as well. Oh, hello. So I love this new camera. I couldn't talk too much about it the other night because, so the only time I've used these new cameras is with Helen on the Japanese stream. And of course we were focusing on mostly speaking in Japanese. So I didn't have time to really marvel at how great these cameras are. First, they pick up such amazing low light. I used to get to a point each night where it got hard to look down the beach because it was so dark. Now, nope, that's not a problem anymore. You can just see them for days. There they go, on their way. And yep, we've got a movable camera on this highway, which is just fantastic. It's really good to sort of see them heading up and around. This one's heading off to the side here. Where are you going? So I guess this penguin, by the looks of it, this penguin's turn off is just here. They've gone along the highway and gone, hang on, where's my home again? And then they've taken their turn off back to their burrow. But let me go back to the main camera and see what's going on. All right. So we've got some just hanging around here at this penguin burrow. And that second raft, yep, is just arriving now. So we've got more here on the rocks. Let's have a little look here. Yeah, we're seeing some preening, we're seeing some waddling, and I think we'll very shortly be seeing more on the highway camera. I want to spend a bit of time on the highway camera now that we've got such great technology, because that's a view we haven't got to see that often. Though I guess you guys who've been watching for a week and a bit probably very used to it. I'm very excited to be playing with it. Oh, these guys are running to join that group who were there before. Will they stop and join the backlog? Yeah, some of them. Yep, some of them have stopped. Some of them are continuing along. One's off and running now. Oh, and there we go. Let's go back to this highway. There we are. Oh, hello. Here they come. Oh, it's great. And it seems a bit higher quality as well, doesn't it? Really high definition as they run along here. That cute waddle that they do, that they're so famous for. Any questions, Sue?
Yeah, Ashley would like to know how long we count the penguins for, and how late would the last penguins come ashore?
Yeah, great question, Ashley. So we count the penguins for 50 minutes. That's 50 minutes. And we count them from when 5 penguins get halfway across the beach. Because at that point, well, anywhere up until about half is when they'll run the opposite way if something spooks them. After the halfway point, we would assume that they should run forward. Though wasn't it you, Sue, you poor thing, that a week or two ago that they got about halfway, or even I would say further than halfway, something spooked them and the silly things ran back to the ocean.
Yes, that definitely was me. I had started counting and I thought, oh, whoopsies.
Well, that wasn't your fault. You were doing it all right. They just got over halfway and then changed the rules on us. Rude penguins. Yep, so we usually wait till the halfway mark to avoid that, but if they're going to run back beyond the halfway mark, what can you do? So so sometimes it doesn't work like that. But yes, from that halfway mark, we count for 50 minutes, and it's always once they've passed that halfway mark. So that means that if at 49 minutes and 30 seconds, a raft of penguins arrives on the edge of the water, if they don't make it to that halfway mark, by the end of that 50 minutes, they don't get counted. But penguins will still come up after that time. So most of them come up within that first 50 minutes. That's what we tend to see. 50 minutes gets most of them, but certainly there's some penguins who will come in 2 to 3 hours after sunset. So we don't count them, we give up at that point. And we also turn off all the lights, make it completely dark, completely natural, so that if there's any penguins who might be a little bit put off by the lights perhaps, that they don't have to come up during the light. Having said that, these penguins, oh look at this raft, fantastic. These penguins that come to this beach have had lights on their whole life, they've had people there their whole life, and they're not worried about people at all. One question we got asked a lot was, did we notice more penguins coming back during the lockdown? Did we notice that they were happier without people around? And the answer is no. And it's really just because they weren't bothered with us to begin with. They've had us their whole life. They're very used to us. They could move somewhere else if they wanted to, I guess, but they don't. They're very comfortable. And you'll see when you come to visit us, we try to be polite, we try to be quiet, we try to, not interfere with them too much. But even with a big crowd, even with a bit of ambient noise, no, they're not bothered at all. They don't mind humans. You can be sitting right near them on those stands and they'll still walk right by you like you're not even there. So no, lockdown hasn't really impacted on them at all, because we haven't been impacting on them for quite some time. And that's why it's so good what we do here at the Penguin Parade. We have lights that are covered in a sort of red filter so that it doesn't affect the penguins' eyes, so that they don't really notice that they're being lit up. We try and keep it quiet. We have boardwalks raised above so that we're not trampling on their nests and getting in their way. We really are as hands-off, and as we do our best not to interfere as much as we can. And yeah, we're doing really well. We've been watching these, tourists and visitors have been watching these penguins here in Phillip Island for about 100 years now. And since 1968, we've been studying these penguins. And as time has gone on, we've figured out, no, we shouldn't just be walking down the dunes. Back in the day, people used to just sit on the beach and watch them. And I think people maybe feel, if you were one of those people, you might go, oh, I love that, it was so nice. But actually, what we were doing was trampling on penguin nests and getting in their way and interfering. Now with our boardwalks and our stands, we are much more, we're treading much more lightly on their habitat and making it much more sustainable for the future. And that's why we're seeing numbers grow back. In the mid-80s, we got down to only 12,000 penguins left. So we really dropped down numbers, and it was likely that we'd have no penguins left by the year 2000s if big changes weren't made. And luckily we're here at Phillip Island Nature Parks, we took it seriously, we made the changes, the government was on board, and now we've got the biggest colony of little penguins in the world that we've got here. So it just pays to look after the environment and value these special species. We've got to be the custodians, we've got to look after them. And one way that you can do that at the moment, everybody, is by cutting the straps on your masks when you throw them out. You've probably seen it on Facebook, at least I know I have, and social media, pictures of birds and animals that have been caught up in the masks. So we're pretty good with the tops of bottles, aren't we now? We cut those, and we're pretty good with lots of other things that animals and birds can get tangled in. But yet we've brought in this new thing for many of us. A mask is quite a new thing to deal with, and yet they're getting thrown away. They're ending up in our water systems, and they get tangled. The poor little penguins and other animals can get tangled. So if you've got a disposable mask, make sure that when you dispose of it, just cut those straps so that nothing can get tangled up in them. Even better though is to use a reusable mask. Find yourself a mask that you can wash and re-wear. All right, let's have a little look at these highway penguins. I reckon we've got maybe 3 more minutes left, everybody. So get your last fill of penguins, at least until tomorrow night. If you want to know how many penguins have come in tonight, you'll have to watch again tomorrow. And that looks like a huge raft just above us there. Oh, penguin, no, yep. Where are you going? What you doing? Make up your mind. Where are you heading? Now, interestingly, I don't feel like we've seen many shellgritters tonight. Maybe I haven't been paying attention, but I don't think I've seen as many. Saturday night we were seeing stacks, and then that does check out that this week we've seen a whole lot of penguins laying eggs, because it is really those few days before they lay the eggs. Oh, there, speak of the devil, there we go. There's a shell gritter right there. Oh, 2. Hello. Hi, ladies. You having some cravings, are you? 3. It's like a clown car, isn't it? They just keep popping out. And you can see them. Yeah, look at them shell gritting along the way. Let's have a little look. Watch them as they just dip down onto the ground, nibble on a shell, getting some of their cravings filled. Oh, yep, there we go. Yep, nibble, nibble. There you go. You're about to lay an egg. That's so sweet. And what are you doing? So, Sue, let's get one last question if you've got it.
One last question for the night.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Seeing as we're looking at the shell gritters,
yes.
Do the females, after they've laid one egg, this is a question from Beverly. So after they've laid one egg, do they still shell grit before they lay a second one?
Ooh, do you know the answer, Sue?
I would be thinking no. I would be thinking they had done all their shell gritting, and they would be keeping their egg warm.
Yes.
And in preparation, also staying in that nest for their next egg.
That makes sense to me. I reckon, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to say I reckon that yes, they would lay their one egg, that probably they would guard that egg because chances are the male is out fishing. And so they would have to be looking after that egg, so they would not want to be leaving it alone. That would be my guess. However, that sounds like a fantastic question for Dr. Penguin, for our Professor Penguin, Andre or Paula or one of our fantastic researchers, because I don't know for definite sure. But yep, that your hypothesis, Sue, sounds pretty good to me. That would be my guess. That was what Sue's guess, and I would agree with Sue's guess. Oh, look at them go. There's another one on its way. Oh, they're checking themselves out in the in the underground windows there. So that window there is our underground lair. In better times, I'm sure we'll have people back down there eventually at some stage. Certainly not at the moment, but it is a sort of indoor area where you can be face to face with these penguins. It's a fantastic viewing option. If not at the moment, then hopefully in the future when things go back to some form of normal. So let's watch this last little waddle coming past us. Let's enjoy their cute little side-to-side motions as they go. And I'll remind you to donate if you like these guys, if you want to keep seeing them here on Phillip Island, do donate to the Penguin Foundation. Become a Penguin pal, get yourself a plushie, adopt a penguin. Adopt a penguin for someone you love. Or just donate to the cause and help us continue the important work that we do here at Phillip Island Nature Parks. Oh, with another shell gritter just coming down on her way. Oh, I love this time of year, Sue, don't you?
Definitely. This is my favourite time of the year.
Yes, it's the most wonderful time of the year. It's breeding season. All right, it's time for me to go. I'm singing. It's gone too far. I'm too tired, everybody. All right, good night, everyone. I will see you again tomorrow night. Tune in to find out how many we had tonight. Is there anything else I need to say, Sue?
I think that you've covered everything, Sky. As usual, you're amazing.
Oh, Sue, thank you. All right, good night, everybody. Hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.